Hello. Let's be a bit goofy today. You go through stages of being angry, but then fucking funny. Let's just have a laugh. I have my stress balls. These are fucking hilarious. Look, ball chin. This one's a patron only thing where I put balls on my chin. But look at this thing, right? And you squeeze it, it's got an actual, like, doesn't look, it looks painful. Like, look at this shit. Like, there's an actual, hang on, there's an actual ball in here. Oh, fucking hell. Look, stress balls. All right, look at this. It's got actual testicles. Look, it's got actual testicles inside. It's so gross. Look at that. Does that look painful? Anyway. Let's make it. Look, this is where you don't get your news from me. This is the real me behind this debate and all this stuff. Is somebody who sits there and finds this funny and finds these hilarious. Look, it's my stress balls. Anyway, hi. I think you get to a point with this where I think if you don't get, yesterday I was kind of mad and feeling mad and feeling over it. And then eventually the silliness kicks in and I haven't been able to stop laughing because it's just occurred to me. And I think this may end up being some bit of material or something. And I tweeted it yesterday or last night. Right. Like I'm sitting here and I think I touched on this yesterday, which is that people don't realize where this is heading and that it's not good, right? And people, like, everyone sits there going, oh, Stalin, oh, Nazis, oh, fucking Chairman Mao, all that sort of stuff, right? And for some reason, I'm just giggling senseless, right, at how if you were going to define, like, it's just so funny. And this is the reason, this is why they're geniuses. This is why woke fucks are geniuses. Because nobody takes them. They're so stupid that no one takes them seriously, so they win. And it's ridiculous because there's this part of me that's just constantly, and I said to Paul last night, I said, at least when I go to the gulag, I will go down laughing at how ludicrous all of this is. And like, I wonder if that happened, like in other totalitarian regimes, where like the Nazis just showed up and like in their Hugo Boss outfits. Thanks, Natasha. In their Hugo Boss designed suits, right? And said, "Well, at least you took them seriously." I mean, when you look at the people who are in these armies, like actually sit back and think about it, right? The people that are running the show with this stuff, it's like when I'm inevitably said to this fucking camp, it's like, it's not going to be enforced by someone like who even looks respectable. I mean, that's pretty fucking embarrassing. It's pretty funny and genius, because I think that part of the reason why this hasn't been nipped in the bud is because people still are asleep and think that this is just a bunch of college kids or a bunch of idiots at Evergreen, and they're all just got like pink braids and fucking, folded up socks for tits is what I said yesterday. And it's like, but this is actually a dangerous movement. And I think that there's some evil genius to it, which is the fact that even if this goes full fucking because I'm a pro, I decided to eat pizza 3 minutes before I was going to stream. So now it's returning on me because I ate too quickly. So good job. So stress balls, stress balls. That's so gross. Anyway. Hi, welcome to my high quality show. But the most fucked up, and I just can't stop laughing about this, just the very notion that the people at the front of this movement are so ridiculous. And when I talk about the movement, I'm talking about sort of the broader critical theory mob, right? They are the dumbest people. Right, it's crazy. Like, is this what happened in like Russia and Germany and all those places? Is history too kind to them? Well, I'm starting to wonder, and I know that Hitler was like a sort of failed artist, right? We know that. But I do wonder if like maybe we're giving, like, history is giving them the benefit of the doubt too much, and that these movements tend to be run by morons. I can't. It's ridiculous. Like, when is someone going to step in and go, okay? Like, could you imagine? Okay, they're sitting the fucking, it's in the 30s. You're sitting, you're a woman who has been put into the fucking gulags by association because you question Stalin, right? And you're sent to the camp, and like, it's policed. But they've got red noses and they're dressed like clowns. It's like, how did this happen? At least they had the decency to have fucking uniforms and suits and like look respectable. It's kind of embarrassing, the idea that we might actually be losing to an army of jokes. Does that not occur to you? It just tickles me for some reason. It absolutely tickles me. And like, I think that I've sort of, if this goes down a bad path, which I really hope it doesn't, right? I really hope that people just suddenly start to see what's going on with all this stuff. Eventually they'll just cancel each other. Because remember, not all totalitarian movements succeed. Okay, so a lot of them try, but they don't all succeed. So maybe we might just be living through an attempted coup, right? But I just sit there and I go, if these guys actually do take control now, and Brett Weinstein has been talking about this idea of a horizontal revolution, and sleeper cells, where this sort of woke critical theory, this stuff, this cluster of this new movement of totalitarians, that that because they have managed to sort of capture every institution across the way, right? But nobody takes them seriously. But because it's horizontal, they can actually just activate like at any point in the culture or in the system, right? And that's what we're seeing, right? So, get into Facebook, get into Twitter, get into Reddit, get into the New York Times, get into government, get into not-for-profits, activate, start some shit, show your power, spill, cause some internal shit. That seems to be the pattern of this group, this religion. Which it's very clever. It's actually extremely clever, because it seems like they've borrowed a lot of tactical stuff from all of the great totalitarian movements of our time, and also all of the cult psychology. Like, whoever's running the show on this shit, you're a genius. You're a genius. But you're also a fucking genius in the fact that I'll go to the fucking camps laughing my ass off that I've been owned by a dude. I think, what was my tweet? Hang on, I've got it here. I said, when I'm inevitably sent to the woke death camp, it won't be enforced by someone in uniform. It'll be some dude with a beard, a pink wig, and rolled up socks for tits. That's the most fucked up part. So at least the totalitarians of the past had the decency to dress like winners. That's pretty funny. And I was like, it's just, the movement is so terrifying. And there's this massive dissonance with me, because I'm so terrified of what this leads to, where this leads. But they're also funny, because it's just innately fucking hilarious that it's gotten this far. Like, it's like with this Chaz Chop stuff, like, it's awful. We know how this ends. Anyone who knows history knows how this ends. And yet nobody will do anything. And everyone's sitting around just going, oh, well, let's just fucking, let's just see what happens. We know what happens. People die and people get shot. And the most embarrassing thing is that it wasn't even by someone dressed as a soldier. It's by someone who's got fucking green hair and a vote for Pedro t-shirt. It's fucking embarrassing. It's fucking embarrassing. Although that one could argue that it is actually a uniform, and it's one of the most. It's quite genius in the fact that the uniform is unthreatening. And it's really weird. Like, it's almost like, like, okay, here's a side point. Some like old friends who you don't talk to, but then they pop up in your feed like randomly, and they've bought it hook, line, and sinker, and you don't even, they're cookie cutter. It is a uniform. They fell for it. Their kid's trans. They got green hair. They're fucking spouting the cult nonsense, and it's just like, what the fuck is happening? It's like I hadn't seen this person in 5 years, and all of a sudden they're just a fucking cookie cutter. It's weird and funny. Buy shares in Manic Panic, people. Anyway, stress balls. Stress balls. Stress balls. But if the movement does reach its natural conclusion and they do actually get somewhere, which increasingly it seems that they are, because tech companies benefit from this. Tech companies benefit from the division and the behavioral data and all of that sort of stuff. Once they can fully predict us, they can make us predictable and they can make us do what they want. Profit, all that stuff. They get political power. We've talked about technocrats before and technocratic thinking. But, if it reaches its natural conclusion, I just can't help but laugh my ass off at the idea that it's like, it's the walk of shame, and it's like, it'll be worth it. It's like, I'll just defend myself to the end, and I will laugh in their face. I will laugh in their face, and I will just sit there and I'll go, good on you. I can't take them seriously. And maybe that's our fatal mistake, is that, yes, they're weaponized. Yes, they've got a clear uniform, and they're clearly spouting cult shit. And, this obviously just a scary religious fucking movement that's got this whose strategy and tactics, if you understand anything about like military tactics or political tactics, it's genius. Someone's doing this, okay? Or a group of people. It's not a phenomenon. It can't be, right? It has to be organized. Just, if you know this stuff, it has to be organized. But it's just like their choice of uniform makes it like, if they were dressed up in like, the proper uniforms and everything, you'd probably be going like, oh well, this is scary, right? Or it was the police. Anyway, I can't take it seriously, and that's why they're powerful, because no one else does. Everyone else just thinks this is isolated fucking kids being kids, or idiots with green hair doing idiots with green hair things. But like, it's genius, because they're infiltrating everything, taking away women's rights, declaring radical feminists terrorist organizations, making claims that it's just insane. Like, as a woman, I feel like a target. The reason I'm laughing today is because the goal is to persecute. The next step will be to start persecuting women and persecuting those who criticize this movement, right? It's the writing's on the wall. The pressure's there. Like, there was a subreddit, radical_feminism. I posted it this morning, where their description, I don't know whether it could just be fake, and it's not. It's actually a live Reddit. I did check subreddit, but it could just be something that someone created to shit stir and trigger us, right? You just don't know who's playing what game. But at the same time, it exists. It's there. The screenshot's real. I took it myself this morning, which is that radical feminists are a hate group, and that they are pushing for governments to prosecute, right? That's their aim and mission of the group, is to get radical feminists declared terrorist groups and hate groups, right? We knew this. But no, everyone just calls us crazy, and everyone just says, oh, well, ha, 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 you sensitive. Don't be so sensitive. You don't be so hysterical. It's not like women have been a fucking traditionally oppressed group or targeted for fucking ever. Don't be so silly, sweetheart. Why would they do such a thing? Well, they are. Okay? It's fucking horrific. And that's why I've decided these stress balls make me feel better, because it's like, look. Anyway, I wonder why there's no comments on this stream. No. Okay. The thing is, I could get mad about it. We could get mad about it. And I ordinarily would be a bit more. I just think that I think it's worth pointing out that sometimes this shit's funny. And if it's in a year from now, like I'm murdered for having these opinions, at least I'll remember that it was done. But it was just funny anyway. So I had nothing to say other than that. How long have I been going for? This was only a short one, but I just find anyway. It is hilarious. The uniform, like it's crazy. I imagine being beaten to death with a ukulele. Anyway, so that's it. I had nothing else to say. I don't think anyone's commenting, so I'm going to go. This was a short one. Part of the daily grind. Also, anyway. So, can we just learn to laugh at this? It's ridiculous. Yes, it's serious, but it's never not funny. And that's why this is so dangerous, because people keep acting as though it's just idiots. But once you've been in this movement for as long as I have and studying these things for as long as I have, this is a legitimate cult. And they've got a uniform and they've got very sophisticated strategy and tactics. I don't know if you've seen, but Extinction Rebellion have now declared war on women as well. So if you're into the green movement, they've now declared war on TERFs, right? So this is what they've done, is that they've basically captured every not-for-profit organisation, every movement, rebranded it, renamed it, and they're all the same people. Black Lives Matter, Extinction Rebellion, all this group, they're all the same render crowd that go from organisation to organisation. They've captured it, kicked out all of the actual real activists, and are now pushing something fucking scary. So, but it is funny because I quite like the idea. It will be funny. It'll be Python-esque. It's Python-esque. The idea that I am somehow just going to, like, my fate. Like, I don't know why. I think I'm just so fucking burnt out and tired from this whole thing that the absurdity kicks in, right? Yeah, and pride as well. They're pushing. They're pushing everywhere, and they're not what they seem. Okay, they've taken over feminism. They've taken over the race movement. They've taken over LGBT. They've taken over. This is like Brett Weinstein said, horizontal movement. So they've captured the universities. They've captured, it's just constantly. And so you might see it as weird pockets of crazy things that are just on Twitter, but it's not just that. Like, I've heard someone say that it was sort of nerds on Reddit today, and it's like, no, this isn't it. Reddit, they've captured everywhere, and it's a symptom. And that's what's so scary and clever about this movement, is that unless you are following that particular group and their particular activities, right, it appears to be isolated. Okay, so if you're only involved in a women in business thing, right, you only see a couple of dickheads. Or you go to this thing and you only see a couple of dickheads. Or you see you see Chaz and Chop and all that shit. You only see a couple of dickheads. Or you go to a Greens meeting. It looks like a couple of dickheads. But it just happens that couple of dickheads are in every organisation and derailing every single one of them. And as a global force, they're actually extremely organised and extremely powerful, right? This entryism tactic that I've talked about quite a bit, and stealth authoritarianism. So they insert themselves into the movement and they lay low, and then they start shit and kick everyone out, right? That's not just for online communities. It's a strategy that they use, right? Yeah, so and Natasha said it is all funny. Like, it's not funny, but it's twisted. Like I've said, it's not ha-ha funny. It's fucked up funny, okay? And like, yeah, and also for not like self-flagellating and falling off a cliff I think who was it I said it to? Graham, the other, where I was like, it reminds me of that fucking the cow cult scene from South Park. Remember the first season of South Park when the cows joined a cult and then the clock went off and they were all activated at the same time and they all just walked and marched off the cliff. That's what we're seeing right now. They've been activated in all of these organizations, right? And I'm talking about this new, we don't have a name for it. That's the problem. Woke cult, I suppose, wokeism, cancel culture, SJWs, whatever you want to call it, right? It's a legitimate cult. And it's a totalitarian political movement that has infiltrated pretty much every organization that you can imagine. Okay. The irony being that the only place that this is actually hasn't gotten in yet is the Supreme Court of the United States and the presidency and, the conservative governments, which they seem to be our saving grace, because the Labor and Greens and everything, they seem to be captured by this shit too. So it's just weird. And also because of I hate it. I hate that I love this so much, because it's bizarre. I hope they don't win, because I hope that eventually this can just be a sort of footnote in history. Like, remember when all this crazy shit happened and this totalitarian pack of fucking lunatics tried to take over and failed? That's what I'm hoping happens. But the more that this progresses, the more that I'm actually just like, I am scared. Don't let my fucking, these stress balls get quite a bit of a workout, right? There's a gift for you. Look, there's actual detail in the ball. Look, it's so gross. Anyway, but yes, they organise him. Here you go. So Natasha, who I would like to speak to. I've just been bad at replying to people. I'm sorry. They organise in plain sight in social media, and then they work over people in institutions through diversity training. Exactly. Diversion workshops. Not diversity and inclusion. I've stopped I was championing that up until 2 or 3 years ago, and then I realised, right? I realised what was going on, and I stopped using those words. It's not what it seems. It's absolutely not to do with diversity and inclusion. It is a fucking hostile takeover of a dangerous cult. It's crazy, and yes, and this is what I'm saying, is that this is frustrating, because I hope they don't succeed, because it is funny. I hope that at some point this could be no, I'm not going to say Manson, because Manson fucking did some crazy shit, right? But Manson actually was a you read about fucking Charles Manson. Charles Manson was lauded and supported by the media when he had his cult. It was only when they started killing people that they actually it became a problem. And even then, there were people who still just loved him and supported him all the way up until his death, right? He was a social justice person in the 70s, and fucking the media loved Charles Manson. Right? I was researching some of this cult of personality stuff, trying to understand how these things, because you got to know how they work to be able to fucking fight them. And the thing is, the natural conclusion to this is that they're going to start killing people. They're going to start killing people. They already have in Chaz and Chop, whatever the fuck that's idiot thing's called. Thankfully, someone grew a spine and broke that stuff up. But at the same time, this is what's happening, right? This doesn't end well. And the fact that I'm on their fucking list, that's a bit of a worry. So for me, honestly, I'm starting to think that the only way to fight this is to laugh in their faces. Literally laugh in their faces, because they're so ridiculous. And and I'm not saying don't treat them seriously and don't take the movement very seriously, because clearly they're very well organized. Whoever's doing it, fucking congratulations. You're amazing. Right? However, you're ridiculous. And I'm going to laugh all the way to the grave. It'll be a life worth lived. If I end up kneeling, right, in desperation and starvation, I will still laugh in your face, because your knee-high stockings and tutu is not the appropriate attire for genocide. Yeah, so this is actually, and watch some documentaries about Charles Manson, and Jim Jones, yes, and the People's Temple. We're all about social justice. Jim Jones, yes. Also the unification movement, the Moonies. They all start like this. They all start with this grand vision for the world, and then they go culty, and it ends badly. It ends badly. So this is terror laughing, this is nervous laughter, and this is just sort of a coping strategy, because I really feel that I think that honestly, there's no real escape from this at this point. I think it has to run its course. I've said this before. I think it's one of those things we can't stop. All we can do is, hopefully, if you are dabbling with this cult, right? If you are dabbling with their ideas, right? And dabbling with sort of parroting their shit, like, trans women are women, or that or whatever, right? This concept of white fragility, right? All of those silly things, right? From an old lefty like me, who has been a feminist and anti-racist, lowercase anti-racist, not capitalized anti-racist. It's not anti-racist TM. Generally opposed to racism and discrimination and prejudice across the board. Generally the right side of social justice. If I'm telling you that this is a cult, I have a degree, master's. I have worked in comms my whole life. I know persuasion and cults inside out. I know my history. And if I'm telling you right now that this is where it ends, this is where it ends. The rest is on you. I'm laughing because it's like, well, fucking, at least I'm validated and vindicated by this. It's not a good feeling. But, they seriously want to declare radical feminists a terrorist group and have us all and lobby for governments to arrest us. That's what they've been trying to do all along, right? Have us questioned by police for hate crimes, for being biological women. They literally, this is a misogynistic movement. They hate women, right? The online MRAs have been mysteriously quiet lately. I wonder why that would be. It's almost like they've got another fucking cover. Anyway, so you need to understand these things. Learn some stuff, read some stuff. And if you don't want to read stuff, go on Prime. Look up cults. Watch something on the Manson family or the Hitler Youth or Scientology or the Moonies or Stalin or totalitarianism or anything to do with any of this. And it will become obvious what's going on, okay? Learn about brainwashing. Learn about thought reform. Learn about fucking, mind control techniques. Learn about basic fucking cult of personality. Learn about narcissistic personality disorder. Come at it from any angle, and the shoe fits. I've spent 5 years trying to falsify this fucking crazy hypothesis that I had, which was that there was a cult coming, a very big cult. And it's not, it's true. It's a fact, okay? I was saying it early. There is now consensus across the board to all of the social justice movement's critics that this is a cult and they are dangerous and that people need to say something and speak up and take control because it's not good. It's not good. Think of the children. Save your kids. Don't let them fall for this. Watch what they're reading. Okay. Anyway, I don't know. What am I talking about? Okay. So somehow I was going to stop at 17 minutes and ended up going for a whole other 13 minutes. So get me going. But anyway, at least if I'm going to fucking become some sort of political prisoner, can you at least do it in like a suit and tie? Yes, and I really want to talk to you about that, Natasha. We should talk about that in an interview. That Natasha grew up in Jehovah's Witness, right? It's another cult. Yeah, it's not, it's like, this is just, anyway. Shoe fits. Watch your friends. If your friends are going with the green hair and the fucking white fragility and all of that sort of stuff, and, all of a sudden trans or non-binary and all those sorts of ridiculous things that, weren't even a thing like yesterday, watch their behavior and see and compare it to someone who's joined a religion, like become a born-again Christian or become something, or suddenly some great epiphany, right? Some special way of knowing. right? And you'll see it. You'll see it. It fits. That's not to detract from actual social justice. This is distinct from left versus right politics. I'm on the left. These guys are a cult that have captured my fucking organizations. So, yeah, we should do a thing about... I've been wanting to talk to you, Natasha, so I'm just bad at replying to DMs and stuff. I'm one of those like mental repliers where I do that with this with email all the time, where I'll get a message or an email and I will reply in my head, and then think I've dealt with it, think I've replied and I haven't. And then they'll follow up and I'll go, oh, I thought I replied to that. So yes, we should. Stress balls, everybody. Anyway, there's nothing more satisfying than doing this to someone's balls. Makes me feel very bad, especially at the moment. Why did I do that? Why did I do that? This is why people don't take you seriously, Taya. Anyway, Peter's here. Stress ball energy. Yes, indeed. Anyway, this was just having a bit of a laugh. I've got to go. This is so ridiculous. Can we just take this seriously, okay? But promise that you'll retain your sense of humor to the end. If this unfolds, right, and it ends catastrophically, and it will, okay, and if we end up on the receiving end of whatever fucking baseball bats or ukuleles or whatever the fucking thing that they want to beat us with, at least promise that our last dying breath will be to laugh in their face at how ridiculous they are, because they're ridiculous. It's genius. It's fucking genius. Because if they actually wore uniforms, people would be like, they'd actually just deal with it straight away and go, whoop, this is an army. Deal with it straight away. Terrorists, blah. Nah. If you turned up and were dressed like the most ridiculous fucking thing ever, you hide in plain sight longer. It's amazing. It's amazing. Thank you, Natasha. I noticed that you were named in a certain Medium article the other day, and I've been meaning to talk to you about that fucking thing. But this is the shit that's thrown at women who are just trying to fight. And then for anyone who has concerns, okay, I'm going to talk about this. The reason why feminists right now are dealing with conservative women. Well, first of all, conservative women are women. Conservative women are more women than trans women are women. Let's put it that way, okay? So one of the mistakes feminists, I think, have made is, I've said this before, is ignoring the concerns of conservative women historically, okay? Now, that said, okay, the one that I saw, Natasha said, another one, I don't want to name anybody, but the one that I saw yesterday, I'll send you a link. I don't like naming names. I don't fucking want a target on my back any more than I have already. No, but for those who have concerns about feminists working with conservatives, at the end of the day, they're the only people that will hear us, because the left have lost their minds. Okay, this is important. Okay, and yes, it's unfortunate that conservatives have certain views on abortion, but they're still women, and we're still women. And at the end of the day, I am interested in fighting for all women, not just women who agree with me politically. Okay, and so for people like Natasha who keep getting shit for building cross-table fucking alliances in order to fight this common enemy, fucking ease up. Stop your purity shit. Anyway, yeah, this is they're just full goose bozo. I never in my wildest dreams thought that I would be considering changing my vote. I'm hoping that the ALP don't go full batshit before the election here, but I will vote whichever party defends women. That's it. I will vote for anything, any party, based on this issue alone. I've never been a single issue voter, but in this one I am. So, but here we go. We've got a fuckwit. Feminists are just running the world and making men look like monsters. You don't know what you're talking about. Go away. Okay. I'm going to go on that positive note. This is what. Welcome to my. Does that? Hope you cross your legs, fuckwit. There we go. Anyway, listen to the noise. It's so gross. Yeah. Well, that guy just proved my point, right? Oh my God, he saw a woman talking. I must go in and lecture her. Fuck off. Anyway. I'm going to go. This is too long. I love you. Thank you for your precious life seconds. Support anyone who's speaking up. Give money to Vancouver Rape Relief, Megan Murphy, anybody with a fucking wolf, I can't think of anyone off the top of my head, but give them money. You owe them at this point. If you're too scared to say anything and stand up for us, then the least you can do is fund us so that we can fucking be free to say stuff. All right. Anyway, I love you. Thank you for your precious life seconds. And I'm going to go play with my stress balls.